Catfish Johnny's Restaurant, serving the Lake Pennsauken and surrounding areas since 1990. For the last 33 years, we have strived to serve great food at great prices and a friendly, casual atmosphere. If seafood isn't your thing, our burgers or wings are the best around. We have daily specials too. Check us out on Facebook or Instagram for more information. All right, welcome back to another edition of the Goblay Show. I'm your host, Billy Goble, and today we have a special guest. He is a South Sumter graduate of 2014, played baseball there at South Sumter. Great pitcher, could throw the heat, could throw a 95-mile-an-hour fastball in high school, which is not easy to do and kind of unheard of, and especially at his time. So without further ado, our guest for today is none other than Mr. Garrett Cave. Garrett, welcome to the show, buddy.
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
How's life?
Hey, hanging.
Same?
Yeah,
Same
I can't
old?
complain. Trying to stay out of trouble.
Yeah. So what are you doing these days?
Dude, a lot.
A lot?
I mean, not a lot, but a lot.
Yeah.
We, my family and I, we sold our house.
Mm-hmm.
We just moved back from Sarasota, back in the Sumter County area. So excited about that. You know, it's a big move. We went down there about 4 years ago. So now coming back up, it's like, hey, welcome back. But lots of new challenges.
Yeah.
Start a new job. The kids they'll be 5 and 3 next month.
Oh my gosh.
So my oldest, she'll start public school in August. So just kind of getting her ready for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of a big transition period of life and getting used to everything back up here, you know?
Mm-hmm. What made you want to go to Sarasota?
I think it was kind of a circumstantial type thing at the time. Like when I was still playing ball, I was in my high A season, so my third season.
Mm-hmm.
And Jody was pregnant with Riley at the time, and her mom lived down there.
Okay.
And since I was traveling and gone a lot, and she was pregnant, she wasn't traveling with me as much. And she basically was like, "Hey, I'm gonna kind of lean on my mom a little bit." And when I came home for off season, we decided, I was like, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna stay down here? What are we doing? And I was like, I kind of want to go back to Bushnell. And she was like, I don't want to go back to Bushnell. And so we compromised and we bought down there.
Yeah, it's not exactly Disney World, but I mean, I get it.
Yeah.
Because you want to raise your kids somewhere where...
Yeah. But it was a time and a place thing, too.
Yeah, of course. The circumstances change. But...
Yeah. And we had a ton of opportunity down there. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So we bought a house down there and, I kind of ran with it for about 4 years. Yeah. Got into a great neighborhood. I mean, met a lot of cool people down there, but yeah, it came to a point where, the kids got older and we were like,
yeah,
let's go figure something else out.
Well, here's the thing, Sarasota is obviously bigger than Bushnell. And it's got the surrounding areas a little bit bigger too. So
Mm-hmm.
you kind of get lost in translation. You know what I'm saying? Like kids go there and they don't really have an identity.
Yeah.
Like you come here and there are kids that still don't have an identity, but that it's less because they don't get kind of swept under the rug. You know what I mean? It's like you have more opportunities to make a name for yourself, especially if you're going to play sports or, even academic wise. We know the kids that are going above and beyond each year, doing the science fairs and everything at school, and it's the same kids. I mean, they're very consistent at it. So
yeah, it's definitely a bigger pond.
Definitely,
it's a bigger pond.
Definitely,
which doesn't. You can still stand out and like that. And
can.
Like I said, tons of opportunity. The schools down there were great. You get a ton of, which we see it post COVID. The families moving into Florida, there's a lot of transplant families, and the area that we were in was like they were like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "I'm from Florida." And they're like, "What?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not, you're the new guy.
Yeah.
Don't look at me like that."
Yeah.
And, but with that, you get to meet a plethora of cool people. Yeah. And, but there's just something to be said for like living and experiencing the childhood that we did in an area like this, in a niche area. I wouldn't even say niche. It's just, it's got its own thing.
Yeah.
And we kind of started thinking about it, and we're like, you know what, we want to offer that to the kids as well. Yeah. And we enjoyed it at the time. We didn't enjoy it. When you're a kid, you're like, can't wait to get out of here.
Right.
Blah blah blah. But as you mature and get older, you start to realize, hey, that's definitely a cool thing that we can provide for our kids.
Right. I think, and I think it happens to everybody.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are, but and we've all experienced that. When you were 18, about to graduate, I did the same thing. I'm like, I'm not getting a job around here. For one thing, I couldn't find a job around here. I mean, that I wanted to do, besides like hard labor, which I loved working out in the fields, farming and stuff. I loved it, but just knowing now that there's no money in it, and some people can make a living off of it, but not everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I just think it makes you want to go out and look, which I think that's just in our DNA. It's our DNA to go out and find something that, when it's not working where you are, you tend to venture out and go, well, I wonder. I mean, that's how our nomadic side is. Hey, it didn't work out here. It's too freaking cold. Let's go down a little bit. Let's go down the street a little bit and try that. And if that don't work, let's keep going. I mean, it's not going to end. So I think everybody does that. But I think it also speaks, that's how we get curious, and that's how we, tend to kind of come up with our own ideas and stuff. And then once we decide we're going to have a family or kids or whatever, I think that's when you go, oh, wow, do I really want to, raise my kid in this rat race, an hour of traffic, and it's an hour. People don't understand, even in Orlando, you could go 10 miles and it takes you an hour. Or Tampa, it doesn't matter. So I think it speaks volumes where we live, and it's getting bigger. It's a lot bigger than when I was in high school.
For sure.
I don't know if you remember the old brown Walmart.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember hearing from my parents when Walmart first came to town, and I was like, "What's Walmart?"
Yeah, the old brown Walmart in the plaza there. It was you could throw a football from one of the others. Yes. It was so. Yeah. But that was your Walmart. That was it's where you grew up. It's like any other small town. They have their things that they get used to, and then when the superstore Walmart, the big dog came. The
mom and pop killer.
It came in, and everybody was like, I think everybody went just to go, like it was an amusement park. Like, hey, let's go see what they got here. It's a big. It's
wow,
a big.
I got a hole in my lip.
It's a big deal. No, you're all right. I do that all the time.
10,000 square foot.
Wow. Yeah, I know, right? You're like, wow, look at, and it's air conditioned. You're like, what? You don't say.
Yeah.
Garden section. Wow.
Exactly.
So, I'm glad that you're back. It's good to see, and you've been to a couple. I've seen you at a couple baseball games, and you came back for alumni night and senior night, and that was good.
Yeah.
It's always great. I've said this on other podcasts with alumni. It's always great. They say the same thing. It's always great to come back.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And it's great for the kids. They love it. Because they understand that they're a part of something great. Yeah, they're not completely finished with it, but they know that it never ends.
Yeah, you feel like you're in good company.
Yes,
I remember when I was in that circumstance. I was in their position. Seeing older guys come back, I was like, dang, they had success. Yeah. They went on, and they're cool. You look up to them, and. If you come from a program where you don't really see anybody come back, you're just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
You know, I think I really saw that when I was in my third year of college at University of Tampa. You know, the amount of alumni that just hung around and would always see. And, you know, some random guy would be in the dugout one day and they'd be like, oh, yeah, he's alumni, you know, 98, you know, whatever, or 2004, 2005.
Yeah.
Guys were just constantly coming back because the culture that they created there and still have is just incredible. And, I mean, I love my time at South Sumter. You know, that's a special time in my mind. So, of course, I would always want to come back and be a part of it.
Yeah, you know, speaking about alumni, my cousin, actually, I think he's a family relative. I'm not quite sure how. You know, it's one of the. But he went to the University of Arkansas.
Yeah.
And he played with Steve Atwater back in the day. And we went up there to visit family. And he's like, "Would you like? Y'all want to go tour the stadium?" And we're like, "Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that." And so he's like, we just walked up there. It was during the summer. And he just walks up and goes, he tells the lady there, he goes, "I'm Steve Avery, alumni." And they're like, "Come on in." They didn't ask for credentials, nothing. They didn't ask for ID. They didn't know who we were. But he showed us around the stadium, beautiful stadium. It's changed a lot since that time. But the lady told us, because it was summer, there was hardly anybody there. It was her and this huge dog. It was like a bull mastiff or something, you know, one of those, like a Great Dane, huge dog. I can't remember which one it was. But I was like, you go in there, you're like, nobody's messing with that lady.
Yeah. She's got the Sandlot dog with her.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the beast. Duto Realty is a homegrown business with an eye for getting the job done right. From football games to Sunday school and everything in between, these ladies care about our community and the people in it. Helping buyers and sellers in all of Florida with all types of transactions, including residential, commercial, farm, or vacant land. They do it all. They even offer auction services and sellouts to always get the job done right. So she tells us, she says, you guys can go anywhere you want, but the trophy room, just be careful that you don't go in too far. Like you can, like it's open, but they have a laser that cuts the room. So if you get near the trophies, the alarm's going to go off. We're like, I was like, we're good. We're not even going to, we'll probably not even go in that area. So where do we go? Trophy room. So my dad's going to love this. He's going to kill me.
He's going to kill me.
Yeah, he's going to kill me. So he always, you know, he was like the dad, like, all right, guys, did you hear? Nobody mess up, you know. Who's the guy that leans over and trips the wire? My dad. He goes, what is that? And you hear, like, literally like a click, and it goes, all these sirens, and we're like, Gah!
Ain't that how it goes?
So we went and hid in the locker room. And I'm like, that lady's probably like, God dang it. I told him that, dude.
Where are these hoodlums at? Where are they at?
They probably just stole a bunch of trophies.
Yeah.
We went and hid in the locker room. We were in the lockers, like, in the lockers, like, is she coming?
Oh, God. We're going to jail.
But I'll never forget. I'm like, we had this lady didn't know us from Adam. And she just let us in.
And you got national champion.
Yeah, they do have a national championship trophy in there. It's an old one, but they have one. And it's hilarious. Like, I was like, and I'm like, of all people, so I gave my dad the hardest time. I'm like, way to go, Dad. Idiot. I was like, of all people, you know, I would turn the tables. I'm like, of all people, you are the one that sets the example.
It sounds like he has my kind of luck. That dude, I am cursed like that. There ain't no way. I'm gonna be that dad for sure.
Yeah. Oh, man.
My luck is awful. I say there's a fourth Newton's law. It's like, if it can happen, it's gonna happen to me.
You know, I believe that sometimes for myself. And I gave a story on the podcast about I lost a fire extinguisher from my float at Disney. I just slung it off in the middle of the parade because we had these little whirlies. It was like almost like a 0-turn mower, and you could only spin 3 times because if not, you didn't know where you were. You're like, it was like when the hyperspace drive goes.
Yeah.
So you're like looking around like, where am I? So I slung this fire extinguisher off during parade. I didn't know. I had no idea. It fell off through the bottom of the float, and I just kept driving. It's like it laid an egg, you know. So I come back to the where we park our floats, and my manager's holding the fire extinguisher, and I just go, "That's mine." I didn't even know. I went and confirmed it, and I was like, "Dadgummit,
Yeah, that's definitely mine.
that's definitely mine." But I knew. I just had that feeling like, oh no.
It's kind of like that point, or when you're in a public place and they're like, they come over the intercom and they're saying, "Who drives a silver F-150 in the parking lot?" And it's like, frick, that's me. Yeah, your lights are going off. Your car's on fire. Frick. Yeah, that's me.
Oh my God. Yeah, you're like, what's another example? I was in I used to do photography a lot. And I would go to this place in Winter Garden and rent lenses. And like, you know, the big lenses. I go to this place, and it's on the 3rd floor. So I get in the elevator. Well, before I can close the door, this pregnant lady comes on. And I'm like, okay, no worries, you know. But then I've seen every movie, every television show. It's had a pregnant woman on an elevator and it gets stuck, or the power goes out. There's a tsunami all of a sudden, you know.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden her water breaks.
Stop it.
I'm dead serious. Water breaks, and I go, well, it looks like I'm going to have to deliver this baby. It was like an episode of ER.
No.
Or Doogie Howser. I'm like, well, let me just go ahead and see let's check under the hood here.
Man, I'm Dr. Billy.
I'm paging Dr. Goblay. So she starts screaming, you know, rightfully so. She's having contractions.
Yeah.
You know? What I didn't know was on the 3rd floor was a natural birthing center. I didn't know. So I'm in there getting ready to prepare to do this miracle of life exchange here.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the door, and when she starts screaming, I'm like, oh, don't do that.
Yeah.
Because I'm in the elevator with her. I'm like, I don't want any people thinking I'm, you know, harming this woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the doors open and there's a team. They must have heard her.
Oh my God.
They had the
they were ready for it.
The wheelchair.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know, poor thing.
Yeah.
She looks like she's been through hell. And they put her in the wheelchair and they wheel her off. It's like it was almost like a mental ward. There's like 8 people like throw her in there. And
Yeah.
So I walk down the hallway and I open the door and I'm like white faced, like, oh my God. And the guy that owned the place, he goes, sounds like we have another mommy. I'm like, yeah, I was just in there with her.
I about had to sign the birth certificate, dude.
I thought I was going to be part, you know, I was Godfather or something. I didn't know what's going on.
I'll send you my invoice later.
Yeah.
Bro, imagine the doors open and you're just holding it.
I'm telling you, dude, that's exactly what I thought when that water broke. I thought, please God, let that be a 16-ounce bottle of Nestle water.
Yeah.
Pat's Taps at Catfish Johnny's. Pat's Taps is Lake Penosofsky's newest tap room, offering 14 rotating craft beers on tap. We also offer bottled domestic beers, seltzers, ciders, and wine, as well as a variety of appetizers and puff. Our family-friendly tap room is a great place to come hang out and enjoy some one-of-a-kind craft beer. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or the Untapped app.
Dude, you know, I almost missed my son's birth. My second.
Yeah.
Honestly, I kind of almost missed both of them. But so for Riley, my daughter, I was in California and Jody was, updating me. Like, we got to the point where we were updating like hourly.
Yeah.
Almost. Like,
Oh, wow.
Hey, I'm starting to see this. This is starting to happen.
Yeah.
I'm going in to get checked, blah, blah, blah. And I'm constantly just like, okay, let me know. And how it had worked out is we had just came off of a 5-game skid. We had an off day. But then after that off day, we were traveling like 7 hours up to Northern California.
Gotcha.
Going for like a 5 or 6 game kind of roundabout type thing where
Okay.
we wouldn't be home
Gotcha.
for like 5 or 6 days.
Oh, wow.
So it kind of got to a point I was like, if I'm going to go, I need to go now. Like, I either fly out of San Jose or, because where we're going is like BFE.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really don't want to get stranded where I can't get home. But I was just kind of playing it by ear. Didn't want to come home too early.
Right.
Because frankly speaking, they don't give you, as in the minor leagues, at least then, which it wasn't that long ago, but they don't give you a ton of paternal time. It's kind of like, hey, take what you need,
but you better be back.
but we're going to need you back.
Right.
So I was trying to plan it out. So yeah, long story short, for Riley, off day, literally the next morning, as I'm walking onto the bus to leave for the away game, Jody's like, you need to get on a plane now. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I literally told Coach, I said, hey, I just got the text, I got to go. And he was like, okay, be good. We'll see you in a couple days.
Yeah.
Fly in. I got there in time, didn't miss it. It was fine. But then spent a whopping, I think, 4 days home. And 2 of them were her just having contractions.
Oh, wow.
She was induced and this, that, and the other. So Riley was born, spent 2 days there, 2 or 3 days, and then right back.
Right.
And didn't see him for another like 2 months after that.
Oh, wow.
And then, so anyway,
That's horrible.
as Jace was born, it was in the off season. Actually, no. He was born in May, so I would have been playing, but I had been released at this time, so I was home. I'm down in the cafeteria getting like coffee and whatever.
Yeah.
And because there's downtime. There's times where the contractions are tough and it's happening, and then there's might be a time where she's not quite there yet, whatever. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna go down and get a coffee. I'll be right back. I had my phone on Do Not Disturb.
Oh no.
Didn't know it.
Oh no.
Yeah, because we had been in the room and I didn't want it going off and whatever.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a coffee, I'm checking out, and as I'm walking onto the elevator, I check my phone and I have like 15 missed calls from my mother-in-law. And I'm like, oh. And I pick it up and she's like, you need to get in here now.
Oh my
and I'm like,
gosh.
okay, stairs, boom. I'm running up the stairs. We're on like the 5th floor or something. I'm running up there. I come busting into the room, and as soon as I like come through the curtain, the doctor's like, said hut.
Oh, wow.
Right there.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. I put the coffee down. Like, not 2 minutes later, we got to meet Jace.
Oh, wow.
I mean, right at the nick of time.
Wow.
After like everything settled down, and Jody goes, I swear to God, if you would have missed it. If you would have missed it. And I was like, yeah, the coffee's not even that good. I would have been pissed.
Yeah.
We would have missed it for some hotel or for some hospital coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah, but hey, we made it, man. It's always an adventure.
That's cool. And that's something you'll never forget.
No. The first one with Riley, childbirth is, God knew what he was doing when he gave that job to a woman.
Yeah.
It's just, that's an absolute miracle.
Yeah.
I have the utmost respect for all mothers. That's just incredible feat that they go through. So yeah, with Riley and Jace, both of them were just amazing experiences.
I think they do that so they can hold that over their kids' heads for years. Like, oh yeah, well I gave birth.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, you know what? That's getting kind of old now.
Yeah, I put you in this world, I'll take you out. Shit.
So when my brother was born, I was 8 years old. My brother's born. He's 10 pounds, 15 ounces. My mom said 2 nurses were laying on her, like just like trying to push him out. You know, my dad's over there watching a race, NASCAR race,
smoking a cigarette. You know, whatever.
He's like, yeah, Bill Elliott, baby. Woo! Yeah. So I mean, everybody has their own little memory.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
But that's awesome, though. I mean, that's something that's part of life, you know. And then, did you think, you know, growing up that you'd ever see that? You know what I mean?
No,
eventually you would, but
eventually.
But you don't
never
plan
grasp
that.
it,
right?
You never grasp it,
right?
You're like, oh yeah, you know, one day I might be a dad.
Yeah,
you know, I might be a dad one day.
Yeah.
But then, like in the moment, you're like, what? You know?
Yeah.
What is going on?
You didn't pass out, did you?
No.
Okay, good.
No.
Well, that's good. That's good.
No, I didn't. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with kind of you know stuff like that.
Nothing.
I was more intrigued, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, I was a science major in college.
Oh, there you go.
You know, so I've always been kind of curious. So I was like, you know, let me put some gloves on and get up in this thing. No, I'm kidding. I did want to cut the umbilical cord though, but I never had the chance to. Jody had she was 2 high risk pregnancies because she's type 1 diabetic.
Gotcha.
So it was kind of like all monitored. Yeah. Everything was pretty serious.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, Garrett, you're not bowling, son. You're like, hooray!
Yeah. No, she was amazing. That's awesome. She's a rock star.
That's awesome.
I look up to her every day about it. You know, anytime I go back in my pictures and we see flashbacks of both of them, I'm just like, dude, you're so cool.
Now, is she an athlete?
She was, in high school.
Good.
Yeah, she still is. I should say she still is.
Well, I was gonna say then your kids have a really good chance.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I have 2 older brothers, and between us 3, there's 5 grandkids.
Gotcha.
Up until now, I'm not sure with my son yet, but up until now, all grandkids are left-handed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. Yeah.
My daughter's definitely left-handed.
Yeah.
She's lefty.
Yeah.
Got a good swing on her. I mean, she's 5, but
got
a good swing on her. But my son, he's starting to pick stuff up with his right hand. I'm like, no. I'm like, hey, man. So we'll see. We'll see.
Whether your water is supplied by a public municipality or a private well, for residential or commercial use, Purified Water Services, LLC has the solutions to provide you with simply clean water. We offer a complete line of professional water filtration equipment and accessories. Soft water makes a difference you can see and feel. Water heater and appliances last longer with less maintenance. Iron and H2S filters eliminate iron stains and offensive rotten egg odors and protects your water softener equipment from iron fouling. No matter what your problem is, Purified Water Services, LLC has a solution. Contact Kenny Williams at 352-446-2709. My dad is a lefty.
Yeah.
He even like his golf clubs are left-handed. He's got a pair of pings he doesn't even use anymore. I'm like, I could be using these things, but I can't do lefty.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah, I can't do it either.
His glove, I remember when I was growing up, his glove, he had this mitt. He had not a mitt, but a glove, regular glove. He had for years. The thing was worn out, but it was one of those gloves you're like, oh yeah, when you catch it, you're like smooth, like butter, baby. Yeah. Well, of course, his left hand. So I'm like, what's wrong with this glove? They messed the glove up, Dad.
Yeah. He's like, nah, man.
I'm like, where'd you get this glove at?
Yeah, that's the golden ticket glove, son.
I was like, I had no idea.
I'm supposed to throw with this hand.
I know. I was like, but it's good to get used to it now, like Riley.
Yeah.
If she can bat lefty and learn how to do that, that's even like.
Yeah.
I feel like right-hand is so like nonchalant, like it's so modern.
Yeah.
But lefty, they say lefties are all, they're very artistic, like minded people.
Definitely. Definitely. We always said like in baseball, like lefties are weird. Lefties they're just a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
But they're always, like you said, they're always articulate or they just have a different perspective and they go about things a little bit differently. They're almost always smart. For some reason, I don't know. Most lefties that I've met, at least in sports, they're very intelligent.
Right. Yeah, I think one of my nieces is left-handed, and they're, we don't try to correct it or anything. We just let her. But it's weird because I think she does everything left-handed and then one thing right-handed, which is like you can do everything left-handed and then you write right-handed, which if I wrote left-handed, I would look like someone broke my hand.
Yeah.
I mean, and I had to do that a couple times growing up because I broke my wrist or something like that, and I couldn't. I tried. You try to get out of school. You're like, oh look, I can't write, and they're like, do it with the other hand. Like, you're not going to be able to read it.
Like, what? Sometimes I'm like, my left hand's absolutely useless.
Yeah.
I'm completely right hand dominant.
Yeah. I mean, and that's across the board pretty much. I mean, like
maybe
I said,
holding a fishing pole, I don't know. That's about it.
I mean, look at that. You got flip it over, flip it, and you got different ways of doing that, and that's just it's all about preference.
Yeah.
So what I normally do during the show is I'll ask my guest. I know you as a baseball player, but did you play anybody else, or did you play any other sports like growing up first? Or was baseball always your first love? Or what?
It was kind of, honestly, man, I played at a young age. I played football, a little bit of soccer, but it was mostly all baseball, man, to be honest with you. At the time when I started playing football, I think it was Pee-wee, and I was just a skinny little thing, always getting beat up, always getting hurt, jamming fingers, this, that, and the other, and was probably a little soft at the time to continue to want to play. But at the same time, my two older brothers, there's a 9 and 13 year difference between the two of us. So they were kind of in the thick of their middle school and high school baseball days. And I just wanted to do everything they wanted to do. My dad was coaching them. So it was kind of always baseball.
Yeah.
And nothing against, being a multi-sport athlete. That just was kind of my road.
Right.
It was just kind of always baseball.
Right.
I was always athletic to play everything else.
Right.
Excuse me.
You're right.
My dad had a set of older golf clubs at the house and hit golf club out in the pasture. Or I liked soccer only because I was a good runner.
Yeah.
But now I'm just like, I don't have any interest in it. But as a kid, I was, if I was athletic and I could move,
right.
I could go do it.
Oh yeah, soccer's perfect for you if you want to run around.
Yeah,
soccer's perfect for someone with like either attention, like they just can't, like something's got to be going on at all times because it does move a lot.
Yeah,
and someone who doesn't mind running all the time. I mean, you're constantly there are some exceptions, but most of the time you're constantly running. I've seen people kind of just stand there. Like me on a basketball court, I'd stand at the 3-point line and I'd wait. They'd go down the other end of the court and play defense. I'm like, pass the ball to me.
Dude, I'll tell you what, if there's one sport that I suck at, it's basketball. I got the height for it.
Yeah.
Put me in the paint. I'll push some guys around and give you a couple of layups.
Try to bank it off the back.
But, brother, I look like a baby deer out there. I'm terrible. And I will admit that.
Going back to soccer, I think that one of the reasons why I don't really care for soccer is I don't understand it. Like all the rules and stuff. Now, football, I know majority of baseball rules, but football, I could tell you everything. Like if you ask me this, that, unless it's something new, like this year they have a new rule, then I don't know about it. But majority of the time, I'm like when I'm watching pro, I'm like, they'll be like, what happened? I'm like, illegal contact, just keep throwing out these offsides, but like I learned this in baseball the other day, and I don't want to seem like I'm, out of it or anything, but I had no idea. I watched this video. Pitcher throws the ball. There's a guy at third. Pitcher throws the ball to the catcher, and it hits the glove and bounces out, and he takes his mask off and scoops up the ball.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I saw that.
And they're like, oh, guy at third. It's like a balk.
Yeah.
Like, guy at third, you score. And they're like, I think they won the game that way. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, I saw that same video.
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous.
And it's like you made the call or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't.
Yeah.
And you don't really notice it at first. You're like, what did he do? And then you see him barely scoop the ball up with his mask. You can't use your equipment other than your glove.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But see, you don't know that until you do it or you see it.
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10, you're never going to see it. Yeah.
Dude, there's a lot of plays in baseball that make you go, is that the right call?
Yeah.
You know, I saw one the other day that man on first and second, I think 1 out, pop up, shallow pop up in the infield between like the pitcher and first baseman. One of those like corkscrew ones where it comes up, it landed in fair territory, spun out to foul territory on just a 1 hop. You know, so it went up, hit, spun out to foul territory, and the guy caught it, and they called it a fair ball.
I just watched that this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They called it a fair ball.
And did they get a trip? They got a triple play off of it.
I think they got a triple play.
Yeah, that was the one I watched.
You know, is it infield fly rule? Is it fair ball?
Yeah.
Is it foul ball? You know,
I thought that the rule was, and I could be completely wrong, and I don't pretend to know everything. Obviously, I'm a student of the game, but I thought if it lands and it's before third base, because I've seen people when it rolls, they swat it with their gloves.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
if it's
It crosses the line.
Please do not quote me on this.
I know that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know.
To the best of my understanding, is that is a fair ball.
Gotcha.
Now, the infield fly situation, I'm not sure if
Yeah.
there's a man on first and second. I'm pretty sure it's an infield fly. But that ball in that circumstance, that ball has to bounce in foul territory.
Gotcha.
If it bounces,
So it has to land. He
yes,
caught it.
If it
did
touches
not
ground,
touch. I see what you're
if
saying.
it touches ground in fair territory,
Okay.
and then spins out,
Yeah.
but you grab it before it touches foul territory,
Yeah.
I think it's a fair ball. Now, if it would have bounced and then he swatted it, of course, it's
Gotcha.
foul is foul.
Gotcha.
But that's like, there's a lot of, it gets back and forth, you know, and there's sometimes where you could play the game for 10, 15, 20 years and you come across a situation where you're like, what's the rule on that?
Yeah. Exactly.
What do we do there?
Exactly.
You know?
Promotional consideration paid for by the following. Webster Ace Hardware and Farm Supply are generous sponsors for today's podcast. They have been a family-owned business for 27 years. This helpful hardware store sells items such as archery, Ariat clothing and boots, Wrangler jeans, case knives, Hammond's candies, and live fishing gear. They also have a full selection of hardware, RV supply, propane, Ben Moore, Royal & Clark, and Kingston paints. You need a barn or fencing job done? Custom barn kits and roofing metal are provided at your local Ace Hardware store. What about a new grill for the yard? Traeger, Big Green Egg, Weber, and Blackstone are found here, along with all the accessories to go with it. Stock up your workshop with DeWalt, Milwaukee, or Craftsman tools. They got you covered. Remember to go to ace.com to shop their entire line to have items shipped directly to the store. And the thing is, you don't, like I said, unless you see it, it happens to you. You're never gonna. And some, like you said, sometimes you see things unfold and you're like, what just happened? And that's why I think we need replay.
Yeah.
Like, replay should be a part of every sport. In this day and age where everybody has a cell phone and they can look at it, the high school level, you can sit there, like I'm, like during football season, I'm on the sideline doing, I'll record plays and make the highlight film, like the little highlight thing, promo for that game, and then post it that night or that weekend. There are times where I'll go back and I'll see penalties. I'm like, really? Like, that's what you called? But it's human error. I know, I understand that, but it also, you know, at the pro level we have that, and they take it into consideration. College level they have it too, but high school they're like, nah, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I don't want high school to be commercialized. I don't want it to be like where kids are, they're. I know in Georgia they have this thing where should high school players get paid, and I don't think they should. Because you're still in high school, you're still a kid.
Yeah.
Now, if you go to if they done made the college level, they made that bed, they can do whatever they want. But this is my own personal opinion, and you may not agree with me. People at home may not agree with me, but I don't think that high school. Because then what's next? What are you going to pay middle schoolers?
Yeah.
When does it stop?
Yeah.
Where do you stop?
Yeah, I mean, I think one, high schoolers haven't really earned anything to get to that point. Anyway, you're just there. Everyone goes to high school.
Yeah.
God willing, you make good grades and make good decisions. Everyone goes to high school.
Yes.
Not everyone goes to college.
Right.
You have to earn a scholarship, or you have to earn a walk-on spot to that team, or you have to put forth some type of effort to get there.
Yeah.
You're not just given a position
Right.
in a college level.
Yeah.
So whether it's public or private high school,
Yeah.
You're still.
Yeah.
It is a mandate almost, right? It's to get your diploma, go to high school. Everyone has that opportunity.
Right.
So absolutely not. I don't see. I don't know, man. But things are going crazy right now. So I mean, who knows? But I just think I think I like name, image, and likeness. I like that college players are starting to be, they're starting to have avenues to make money.
Yeah.
Especially at a college where the amount of money coming in off of their name, off of jersey sales and merchandise and ticket sales at the game.
Absolutely.
100%. But yeah, I think, like you said, when does it stop? If we go to high school, when do we go to middle school? Like, come on.
Right. Well, and we always say it's a privilege. It's a privilege to be on the team.
100%.
Right. But that's more said. I know that's a mindset. But that's not it's not a privilege in high school, because high school is mandatory. You have to go to school. So college is one thing. You get accepted.
It's a privilege to be on the team.
It is. No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not taking anything away from that. But what I'm saying is, we say that as a mindset, like it's a privilege to be here. Playoffs, it's a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
I 100% agree, because you need to make sure that you are, in your own head, you have accepted the fact that we are here because we did what we needed to do.
Yeah.
It's a privilege.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, high school sports is not a privilege, because now making a team, I'm not excluding that. I'm just talking about being there in general.
Being there in general.
Absolutely.
Yes. Being in the facility.
Right. I don't think if somewhere being mandatory you have to go, that's like saying taxes are a privilege.
Yeah.
You have to pay taxes.
Yeah, you have to pay taxes.
Anytime that you have to do something and you have no choice, it's not a privilege.
It's not. That'd be an obligation, right?
Absolutely. An obligation, or mandatory obligation probably would be the best bet. But I mean, that's the way it is sometimes. And so you're good. But sometimes people lose sight of that, and that's why I'm saying you shouldn't go lower than that, because anytime that they have to be there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, I think if you go to any halfway decent organization, school at any level, they will always tell you you're a student first.
Right.
You may be here on the team,
right,
but you're a student first.
Absolutely.
Your education and who you are as a person always comes first.
Right.
Us going out and play a silly game comes after that.
But that all comes hand in hand, because without either one, you have no game. But going back to what I said about an obligation, or a privilege, it's a privilege to go to IMG. It's a privilege to go to one of those huge schools that, like in Orlando or whatever.
But did the kid earn that?
That's what I'm saying.
Did they earn that opportunity?
Right.
Or through,
or
their parents?
Did they just show up?
Exactly.
But see, here's the line. When you hype somebody up so much, we've all seen it. It's a tale is older than the hills. you hype somebody up so much, then they don't care.
Yeah.
They don't care because they think, I don't need to.
Yeah.
So that's why we say it's a privilege to be here.
Yeah.
But again, if you get there because, well, you paid your way, it's a little different.
It may not be always that they paid their way.
No.
But you didn't do anything.
You didn't put the work in.
You didn't put the work in.
Right.
Especially at the high school level, like in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
The amount of effort that it takes for you to get to high school.
Right.
Sure.
Right.
Yes, it takes a lot of effort, and you have to be halfway decent of an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But to become a collegiate player, you have NAIA, JUCO, D3, D2, D1, large division D1. What do they call it? Major conference D1.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, if that sport has a professional, and then you have the tiers in that professional sport. So you're the rung that you're on as a high school player is so far.
Oh, yeah.
From where you're headed,
right.
Or if that's where you want to head,
right.
If you want to pursue that.
Right.
So it's like you have to have that perspective and say, I haven't done crap.
Yeah.
But you constantly tell a turd it's pretty.
It's going to believe it.
It's going to start believing it.
Eventually it will.
I think a lot of times these kids go through travel ball or this or that, or they get so much. And they might be the best person. They might be really, really good. They might be athletic. And they're constantly being told, oh, you deserve it. Oh, you deserve it. Oh, you deserve it. This is what we're going to do. Yeah. And they start believing, oh, yeah. They start getting a little confidence. They start, whether you want to call it confidence or cockiness, whatever, but they start thinking, oh, yeah, I can do it. I belong here. I belong here. But it's like at the grand scheme, oh, yeah, I should start getting paid for this, bringing it back to that. Yeah. Why shouldn't I get paid?
Yeah.
Because brother.
Because you ain't done nothing.
You ain't done nothing. Your parents are paying $30,000 a semester for you to be here. You might be athletic enough to play on this team.
Right.
But, where does the line stop?
Yeah. What else you got to show for it?
Yeah.
Kona Ice. Kona Ice is a shaved ice truck that brings a one-of-a-kind tropical experience to you. Guests can flavor their own Kona Ice on our signature flavor wave, dance to our island music tunes, and enjoy a nutritious and delicious treat. Contact Jeremy and Marissa at 352-403-0515. Don't forget to follow them on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. So that's what I mean. Like, when you put that hard work in and you can say, it's like, I had Kirsty Merritt, Jesmer, I'm sorry, Kirsty Jesmer on, and she was talking about how when she went to the University of Florida, they go in the locker room and they just got orange and blue stuff, no gator on it.
Yeah.
You have to earn that.
You have to earn it.
Just because you got there doesn't mean you automatically get to wear the gear. And I think that speaks so loudly. That
I saw that and I loved it.
Yeah.
And
it's not just a softball program. I know football. I know Swamp Kings that talk about it where they're talking about the football. Hey, Urban Meyer came in and says, look, you ain't wearing nothing that says a gator on it or anything until you earn it. I mean, that's where you come to that point where you go, are you in? Are you out? Like, are you all in? Are you going to do what it takes to be great?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think doing so, that alleviates a lot of like the BS. Like, are you just going through the motions? Are you really wanting to do something with your life? Yeah. Because it doesn't just stop at the sport. That will continue to go for the rest of your life.
Yeah, absolutely. I attest to lessons and things that I learned through sports now that I'm out of it and in the real world. There's so many things that I kind of fall back to. I'm like, yeah, I learned that through baseball. I learned that through sports. I learned, integrity, hard work, being a man of your word. Yep. Whatever it may be. Accountability.
Yes.
I can fall back and think, I learned that. when I was here or there, or, you know, this situation taught me this.
Yep.
I think sports, especially collegiate sports and sports in general, have a pretty good way of weeding out the negative.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people that have bad attitudes. And,
Yes.
you know, and one thing I learned is, like, in high school and college, you know, you always think like, yeah, you know, there's a system here and you're trying to buy in, and you learn this and you learn that. You don't want to be a cancer and this, that, and the other. And as a professional, when you get into the professional realm, it's only amplified.
Yes.
Because now millions of dollars are involved,
Mm-hmm.
and you will get, you know, blacklisted or, you know, whatever. If you get labeled as a cancer or a bad clubhouse guy or a, you know, this, that, and the other, like, your career will struggle. You will struggle.
Right.
Just from being a quote unquote bad egg.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it doesn't matter how good you are.
Absolutely.
You know, it gets exemplified, or it gets amplified as you go on. And that shows me how real it is to be the person that you need to be if you need to buy into a system, or,
Yeah.
you know, you can't be a piece of crap.
Yeah.
Do it all.
Well, you know, it shows your true colors.
Yeah.
And then once someone shows you who they really are,
Mm-hmm.
you got to believe them.
Yeah.
That's that great quote from Maya Angelou. It says,
Yeah.
when someone shows you who they really are, believe them.
Yeah.
And we don't do that. We don't believe people when they, you know, I can't tell you the situation. I mean, several people that have been in these situations where they've gone through the same motions over and over, and it's the same result every time. Like, just different examples in life.
Mm-hmm.
A bad relationship, a bad job, and it's like, why do you keep like flocking to this bad energy? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And they don't take it for what it's worth. They just go, they have that, well, I'm sure it'll be better this time. And it's the same thing you do every time.
It's a cop-out.
Yeah, it is. And it's like, you know, the old saying, if it quacks and walks like a duck, it swims, whatever it is,
Yeah, if
it's
it walks
a duck.
like a duck,
If it walks like a duck, it's a
gotta
duck.
be a duck.
It's a
Yeah.
freaking duck.
Yeah.
Why is it so hard to understand that?
I think it's that people not being held accountable,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
not having someone else that can hold you accountable, because in a team setting,
Yeah.
you have 32 other guys that'll hold you accountable,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, that's true.
for lack of a better term, they'll kick your ass
Yeah. No, that's true.
if you need your ass kicked,
That's true.
you know, you get held accountable in a team setting. You know, we're social creatures.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, so and somebody that isn't in a social setting or isn't being held accountable, their actions go ungoverned. And I just think that, you know, going back to accrediting things that I have learned in life back to team sports, it's, you know, I got held accountable.
Oh, yeah.
And I held other people accountable.
Yeah.
And I'm a better man for it.
Holding someone accountable, I don't think it ever has a range of age. I think it's from point A to point B.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't think you can be too young, and I don't think you can be too old to be held accountable. I mean, there are different levels.
Yeah.
Obviously, from the mental standpoint, you're not going to hold accountable like a child to what a 30-year-old man would be. But there's accountability.
Yeah.
And I think that'll make you a better person. Once you are held accountable for what you're supposed to do in life, it's only going to make you better.
Yeah. And handle it with grace.
Yeah.
You know? Like, if you can't be told nothing.
Yeah.
And you just throw temper tantrums and, this is BS and they don't like me over here, and it's always projecting, you know, it's always someone else. Yeah. You'll never be able to be held accountable.
No.
You know, I think it takes a special person, which everyone's capable of doing it. But it takes a special person for you to get yelled at.
Yeah.
You to get told, like, hey, you're messing up.
Yeah.
And you sit there and say, all right, maybe he's right. You know, maybe he's right. Okay, yeah, he's right. He's holding me accountable. He's, you know, he's being a leader. He's being a friend. He's telling me straight up right now that I need to do better. You know, I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, I think that's why the military is so good about that. Because, I mean, they're not only trying to break you down mentally, but they will flat out tell you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's that tough love.
That's tough love.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people can't cope with that. A lot of people, and I know people have been in situations. I've always been very sympathetic to situations where people don't get the benefit of the doubt. They didn't come up in a great household. Yeah. I cannot tell you, I have a soft spot for people like that. Like in my heart, I'm like I can't imagine. I was blessed to have to grow up in a family that there wasn't a domestic dispute every night, or you know what I mean. Like the cops weren't called every night. I remember growing up, and I mentioned this to somebody the other day. I'm like, you know, talking about naps back in the day. You know, like, oh man, I could use it. I wish we could take a nap. You know, like we did in kindergarten. You know, and one of my buddies says, I said, don't you don't remember those days? Those were good days. And he's like, man, I didn't need to take a nap. He goes, I got my 8 hours of sleep at night. he goes, that nap time at school was for those kids that heard shotguns all night and stuff like that, you know what I mean? But you don't realize, like you went home at night and you had a great night's sleep, or you were able to, or had the opportunity. Yeah. There are kids who may sleep in a car, or may sleep at grandma's house in the middle of the night. Someone comes and gets them and brings them to their house, or, you know, all these circumstances. There are no normal circumstances, even when we thought there were. You know what I mean? Like the normal household, they would say, you know, mom and dad and kids. And it's this perfect little world. And when you're growing up, you think, oh, that's how it is. That's the way the world works. But then you realize when you get older, especially around middle school, you start learning about people's shortcomings and, well, who do where do you stay? I stay with my grandma. Where's your mom? I don't know. Or where's your dad? I don't know. I mean, it's just one of those things where it's just a different way of life, I guess. And you get those situations like again, if you go to the military, they're just like, it doesn't matter where you came from. It doesn't matter where you came from or where you're going. This is where it's going to be. And is the exterior of your home or business covered in dirt, mildew, or mold? Driveway or walkway stain? Pressure King can make your siding, deck, vents, and concrete look new again with no damage. Pressure King has cleaned the exterior of houses and businesses all over Sumter County area. Usually it takes less than a day and costs less than you would expect. Call AJ at 352-457-7209. Sports and the military kind of go hand in hand.
Absolutely.
I mean, it just like makes you all around a better person.
Yeah. It levels.
Great coaching, same thing.
It levels the playing field, because your background doesn't matter. All that matters is the objective at hand. You know, whether it's the military or whether it's the game.
Right.
You have a task.
Right.
And it doesn't matter if you're white, brown, black.
Doesn't matter.
Whatever.
Nope.
Or if you have mom and dad at home, or if you're living under a bridge.
Right.
The task is, you need to throw this strike here.
Yes.
You need to strike this guy out.
Yes.
Or, hey, we have this objective to carry out. We need to, it doesn't matter. And I think when you look at things like that, black and white, I grew up a pretty naive kid.
Yeah. Me too. I mean, that's what I'm saying. When you grew up in a household like that, where you're just like, you're oblivious to what's going on.
You grew up in a good household, good structure.
Had no idea.
You grow up very naive. And I'm the same way. When I see situations like that, you definitely take the time to sit back and observe and know that, hey, I don't have any firsthand experience with this.
Right.
So I'm not gonna portray that I know what I'm talking about.
Don't judge.
But what I can do is be here for them, offer something, try and figure out a way to just know that they have a solid foundation between myself in them.
Right.
If I can provide anything for them, if they need anything from me, if they just need a friend, if they just need somebody to bullshit with, and not have somebody that yells at them, you know, what can I do here?
Right.
So yeah, but like I said, like going to sports and military, it doesn't matter, man.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you came from or who you are, and it'll always weed you out. You know, the saying, the ball doesn't lie.
Yeah.
Or the game knows. Yeah, it's true.
That is very true.
It's very true.
It's very true.
The ball will always find you. If you're in a bad mood, the ball's going to find you.
Yeah.
You're going to boot that ball. You know, if you're not in a good headspace, you're out, you know, you're mad about the play before.
Right.
Something. Next ball, next play, it's coming right to you. And what are you going to do?
Yep.
You know, it's funny how the world works. I believe that everything has a way of kind of figuring itself out.
It's funny you mentioned that because, you know, that's our number one rule in football. It's focus on the next play. And I tell people that all the time, and it never gets old because it's not just for sports. It's for life too. You can have a really bad day, or something might not go your way, and the next play, what are you going to do? How do you react? How do you respond?
Yeah.
And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier in your head. Are you going to quit? Or are you going to keep going? And that next play, I just tell our, I coach Wolfpack, and I tell our kids all the time, I'm like, they'll come off, and I know they're frustrated, and it's when you don't do what you're supposed to, and you get yelled at, because you will get yelled at, because it's just the heat of the moment.
Yeah.
But we do stress that you need to focus on the next play. Don't worry about that, because that play's over with. It doesn't matter if you do good or bad. You could score a touchdown and still lose the game.
Yeah. Or
you could throw a no hitter and still lose the game. It doesn't matter. So you continue to keep going, and that play 7 plays ago is gone. You're never going to see it again. Somebody might bring it up, but it's not going to matter because it's over with.
Yeah.
What you do with the next play or with the next situation in your life, next phase, next chapter, that's all that matters. And it's the best part about it is the reset. It's like a reset button, you know. And once you realize that, you go, man, that is so much easier to comprehend the little things, you know. Your life's not going to be perfect. You're going to have situations, you're going to have challenges, but it helps to have a guideline or a plan to figure out what you need to do in case something happens. So we try to do that all the time, and it doesn't matter. I'll tell my stepson Jace, I'm like, look, when he played baseball this year, and he would make a bad throw. I was like, hey, just reset. I don't know why every time he thinks he's got to get up to the plate, he's got to hit a home run. He does. In their head at that age, I guess because it's what you see on TV, or a big hit or something. But I'm like, hey, if you get walked, that's just as good. You got on base, or not swinging at junk, or swinging the bat at all. You know what I mean? Your kids that send it and they watch the ball go. I mean, that's more frustrating than swinging and missing. At least you're swinging. Yeah. Swing the bat.
Yeah.
But I would tell him all the time, like, hey, just reset. And there were times where he was frustrated and you could see him go, okay. But going back to what you said about being coachable, don't be that kid that's like, when the coach is like, hey, and they go, they start doing the whole, why is it always me? I had a situation where when I was at Disney, people would come around and they would actually evaluate you, what your job. And there was a girl named Katie. She would always, every time, I'm like, Katie, I know you're not going to say anything good, because she never says, it's never going to be perfect. But once I realized that, it was okay. But I really took it personal, because I'm like, you never have something. You're always like, hey, everything was really good, but if it was perfect, would we need her? she probably wouldn't have a job. So I'm like, once you look at that, you're like, oh, okay, I don't really care anymore. Okay. But I'll never forget that because you take that constructive criticism to heart.
Yeah.
You're like, I did all this perfect, but I'm still not good. You know what I mean? That's the way I looked at it. Like, what do I got to do to be good? What do I got to work on? Okay, I worked on this one. Now you went back to this one. That's not good anymore. So it's almost like it's like a puzzle that once you put the final piece in there, you're like, oh wait, there's one over here. Where'd it go? It's gone. You got to find it again. It's crazy. Thanks for watching this part 1 of a 3-part podcast. Stay tuned for part 2 and part 3 coming soon.